For His Worship the Mayor.
Please note that this meeting will be recorded for subsequent broadcast via the authority's internet site. The images and sound recording may also be used for training purposes within the authority. The public seating areas will be in full view with the camera, and by entering the chamber and using the public seating area, members of the public are consenting to being filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings as outlined above. Okay, thanks. So the first item on the agenda is apologies for absence. Are there any apologies?
We have apologies for absence from Councillor Chris Barry and Councillor Harvey Jones, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thanks. The next item on the agenda... The next item on the agenda is declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest as outlined on the sheet? No, no declarations of interest. The next item on the agenda is the minutes of previous meetings. Are there any? Is there a proposer?
Yeah, I'll move the accuracy of those previous minutes. It's items 3A to J.
Is there a seconder?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I second those.
Is there any questions or comments? No. Right, if we take the vote then, I think the internet's working today. Oh, that's carried then, thanks. The next item on the agenda is item number 4, change to the committee appointments 2018 to 19. I think the leader will be taking this.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Change to committee appointments 2018-2019. Summary of the report. A number of issues have arisen in recent weeks that necessitate changes to the membership of committees. The report outlines the background and the proposed adjustments submitted by the political groups in relation to the following: membership of the Audit Committee / Democratic Services Committee, membership and Vice Chair function for the Learning and Layskip Scrutiny Committee, and finally, membership and Vice Chair function for Regeneration and Public Protection Scrutiny Committee. The recommendation is that these changes to the committee appointments and Vice Chair appointments be approved. The proposed memberships are outlined between 4, 0 and 7. Also, this impacts upon a number of changes into that of the Vice Chair and the other appointments as outlined. I so move.
Is there a second?
Yes, I second that, Mr Mayor.
Are there any questions? Any good. Julian?
Yeah, I just noticed on you that there's no, unless I've missed it, the Social Services Committee. Does Councillor Rogers go down as my my reserve on that one, do you know?
Sorry, Councillor Amos, I'm looking at Anne, who could maybe just shout the answer. No, so this is just the changes that have been advised to the Democratic Services team at this time. If there are any other changes, if members can let Democratic Services know, then we can deal with that in a further report.
No more questions. Any comments? Oh, yes, Darren.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to thank Anne Taylor and the Democratic Services for the work that they did on this report, and I certainly didn't make Anne's life any easier than what it should be, so thank you, Anne.
Mayor, can I just echo that as well? Thank you for Anne for coming back from 2 weeks leave and having to deal with all of these issues, and thank you for your work on that.
Are there any other comments? No? We'll take it to the vote then. Thanks. Yeah, that's carried then. Thanks. The next item on the agenda is a request for trade union representatives from NASUWT and the National Education Union. I think Councillor Barry's taken this.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The authority recognises the importance of strong union representation and the need for reasonable time off to carry out their duties. The report is to consider a request from the National Association of Schoolmasters Union of Women Teachers for the extension of the appointment of a full-time union official and the National Education Union for the extension of a part-time trade union official. The introduction and background at 3 gives the arguments for the rationale to the secondment and how it will work practically is at 4. There is considerable uplift in cost as seen at 5. The recommendations at 2.1, 2.2 are in that the full-time trade union representative appointment for the NASUWT be extended to cover the period September 2018 to August 2020, and a part-time trade union representative for the NEU be extended to cover the period January 2018-2020. I so move, Mr Mayor.
Seconder?
I second that, Mr Mayor.
Right, lovely. Are there any questions? No. Any comments? No. Oh, well, we'll take it to the vote then, thanks. That was carried then. Yes, that's unanimous. Yeah, thanks. The next item on the agenda item 6, voluntary early retirement or voluntary redundancy. I think Councillor Barry's going to take this.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Apologies in advance for the amendments to this report. You've all sort of had the amendments in the sheet that's been circulated to you all. First of all, some context, the report can be seen at 1. The projected budget deficit for 2019-2020 following our initial settlement lies between 1.9 million and 3.8 million. This is dependent on a number of external factors explained later in the report. To prevent compulsory redundancies, we're proposing the voluntary severance package of 20% enhancement be increased on a temporary basis to either 100% enhancement to the statutory redundancy payment or an enhancement which results in a severance payment equivalent to a 6-month salary inclusive of the statutory redundancy payment. At 1.3, this enhanced package will be time-bound to expressions of interest being received no later than the 16th of November now, which now replaces the 30th of November 2018. It's because RCT need to provide pension figures to allow all successful applicants to leave employment with the authority by the 1st of April 2019. There's a new paragraph at 1.5 which now reads, for employees on JNC Chief Officer and Chief Executive grades, Head of Service and above, the average redundancy payment is an estimated £35,950 per employee with associated gross budget savings of an estimated £102,200 per employee. There's an amendment at paragraph 2.2 which moves 30th November to the 16th of November. Likewise, at paragraph 4.5, 30th November, 16th of November. There's a new paragraph that's going in at 5.2. The employees on JNC, Chief Officer and Chief Executive grades, Head of Service and above, the average redundancy payment per employee, excluding pension strain where applicable, is estimated at £35,950. The equivalent average gross budget saving per employee includes on costs, is estimated at £101,200. Paragraph 5.2 now becomes, paragraph 5.2 in the original document now becomes 5.3. The potential savings of the authority outlined in 5.3, essentially the proposed package will be funded through capital receipts, earmarked redundancy reserves and the revenue budget. The recommendations are at 2.1 to 2.3. In that the revised voluntary severance payment outlined in paragraph 1.2 be approved. A time restriction for all expressions of interest to be received no later than the 16th of November 2018 be approved. And the requirement for all approved applicants to leave council employment on 1st of April 2019 be approved. So I move, Mr Mayor.
Is there a seconder?
Second that, Mr Mayor, and reserve the right to comment.
Are there any questions? Councillor Amos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could I just ask, is it a misprint at 3.1 when it says resulted in a funding increase? Shouldn't that be a decrease?
It was an increase that came in at 0.3 positive. Yeah.
And I've got a second question, Mr. Mayor. At 5.3, is the Cabinet member in any position to say, of those three sources of funding, is there any idea, sort of a percentage of where the money's coming from between them? A proportion at this stage? I'm not sure if you can do it.
Mr Mayor, it's difficult at this stage because we still haven't had information on the grants packages coming in from Welsh Government. So there are so many things that are so fluid at the moment, Councillor Amos, it's difficult to put any figures to it.
Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got a few questions. Could I ask, with the amended report that's just been handed to members, what the specific reason was for pulling forward the date from the 30th of November to the 16th?
Well, take a, the issue is about pensions from Rhondda and Taff. They need extra time, really, to work through the various pension calculations to ensure that we can reach our deadline date of the 1st of April, because if we don't reach that, we'll be paying time in lieu for employees we can't get to that date.
Thank you for that, Andrew. That leads me into the second question. The second dot down under 3.2 refers to a potential central government funding for the significant increase in teachers' pensions costs experienced by Welsh local authorities. I understand the figure that will be applicable to Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council because of the increase in the employers' side of the pension, paying the pension, is in the region of £672,000. Do we know at this stage whether it's likely that the Welsh Government will be paying that, or is it extremely likely that it's going to be each local authority?
It's at this stage we don't really know, but as you say, the actual figure is about £600,000 odd. There just is a quiet confidence, I think, that will be funded centrally, but at this point in time we don't know, and we should know between now and when we get the just actual final settlement, which will be in just a couple of months' time. So there's still a bit of doubt at this point in time.
Thank you, Steve. Is it likely that we won't know the answer then until the final in December sometime on that issue?
It's hard to just say, but I think at this point in time there's just nothing in the actual papers which says that is going to be funded, but we should know by the actual final settlement, which is on the 19th of December.
And my third one, Mr. Mayor, you may well not be able to answer this, but it hinges on our friend up at central government, Mr. Philip Hammond's budget next August, 29th of October. Because of the announcement, there's going to be a rise in the amount of money handed out to the English Health Service. There are consequentials for the other home nations. if he announces that, and it's likely to be from the 1st of April, that, I understand, will be coming down to clearly the Welsh Government, and they've already stated that any consequentials they will fund or hope to fund a lot in local government.
Stage, they've actually said that any further monies that we receive or the actual Welsh Government receives, then that we shall be in front of the queue. But they've said that in the past, so we'll just have to wait and see. But again, there just is an element of doubt, and as you rightly say, the actual autumn budget will be announced next Monday, so we'll find out a little bit on that date, but then it might take some time then to just feed through. But you know, again, there just is some doubt, and we'll just have to wait a little longer.
Gareth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What percentage, how many of the current workforce currently qualify for voluntary early redundancy, and how does that equate as a percentage?
Yeah, at this point in time, it's everybody. It's every employee of the authority, because what we've basically got here is a voluntary severance. So it's even those members of staff who are under 55, and they could also apply. But for those staff who are over 55, I believe at this point in time of the authority, we've got about nearly 600 members of staff who are around that 55 mark.
As a proportion of the total workforce?
Of the actual total workforce, if you just exclude schools-based staff, I think we're about 1,100 staff, so that's about half.
Are there any other questions? Oh, Councillor Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In relation to point 5.1 and 5.2, you've given examples of what the cost and savings would be at the bottom range of salaries, 1 to 12. And then in 5.2, you've gone on to give those figures for chief officers and chief executive grades. Is there a whole range missing from the middle? Or does that cover everything? Thank you.
That is everybody within the authority. Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Oh, Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How much is currently in the earmarked redundancy reserve?
Right, at this stage we have £1 million.
If there's no more questions, then we go to comments. Has anyone got any comments? Councillor Carter.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I sit here tonight. I'm feeling slightly disappointed, if the truth be told. I've no objections to the report in itself. In fact, I quite support it. But I've sat here now for over 18 months in this chamber, where the leaders of this council has preached about his mantra about openness and transparency through across everybody and everybody working together. Yet, I, like other members of this authority, find out over the weekend about this email sent out to staff. Surely common courtesy would suggest that as councillors and members of this authority, we should have had this knowledge of this report at the same time as staff members. Because when you're asked questions on a Thursday night, on a Friday and a Saturday about this, and knowing nothing at all about this report and about VER, makes you look quite stupid, really, to be honest. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that respect.
Yes, Gareth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to express my concern for the potential lack of knowledge, skills and experience from the numbers that could leave. As Steve indicated earlier, there's over half the workforce that could potentially qualify for voluntary early redundancy.
Yeah, if there's no other comments, then perhaps Councillor O'Neill.
Yeah, the first point there is my understanding that that information had been circulated and put out there. Certainly wasn't a secret. My apologies if that wasn't the case. Certainly that wasn't the intention. It serves no purpose, to be quite frank with you, for it not to be shared. I'm interested in the observations. What I first would like to say is thank you to the team, the Chief Executive, the Deputy Chief Executive, Steve, who've worked so hard the last couple of weeks, because there's been no clarity. It's clear from the questions asked, people are looking for clarity, and we can't get clarity. And that's nothing at rest here, that rests with Welsh Government. The way they delve out money is very strange now at the moment, and nothing seems to be certain. I think their eyes are focused on the election as opposed to anything else. What I would like to say as well is that in planning for this, we planned for a worst case scenario. We got a slightly better scenario, which gives us an opportunity to follow this principle. Gives us an opportunity to maybe survive the following year. Many in front of the officers have said about this, the cuts come in, but it seems to have fallen on deaf ears. We need to make these steps and make difficult decisions. This gives us an opportunity to shape the organisation, to reward those who have worked for us and worked well, but also to allow others to progress and change the shape of our organisation. There'll be some difficult times ahead, because some will want to go, who can't, and some will want to stay, who can't. It's not going to be simple. The early indications are there's a lot of interest, because this is a good package, it's a fair package, and we have to reshape accordingly. I would also like to ask those here as well, other leaders, to support us and work with us. It is not my intention to keep this from anybody. There's not intention, no secrets about this at all. I think it's important for the workers and everybody that we work together to streamline this organisation, to make it more effective, to make it more efficient, and also to get through this year and the next. I'm confident we can do it. The people's view outside is very positive of Merthyr, despite the financial crisis we've got in front of us, and they seem to be very positive in relation to our opportunity to get through it. But it's one thing to have aspirations. It's another thing to pay the bills. And we've got to pay the bills. And we understand that. And we will make those difficult decisions and take those decisions forward to pay the bills. I just wanted to make it very, very clear. This is everybody's issue, everybody's problem. I'm interested in Councillor Carter has to speak to the public on the weekends. Yeah, we all have to do that. And he should have the information to do so. And he will do in the future. And I would look to the both leaders to come forward and ask those questions. It's been a busy summer for some of us, and we've worked throughout, been preparing for this. Okay, thank you.
Oh, thanks for that. So we'll take it to the vote now then. Thanks. Oh, no, he didn't. It was Andrew. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we moved it to the vote, so if everyone...
Mr Mayor, that just clarify for me. Oh no, yes, I'm entitled. Point of order. Ask me what my point of order is and I'll tell you. I'll tell you my point of order. My point of order is, I won't clarify. I don't open this debate. Was it the leader, or was it just for clarification I want, or was it Councillor Barry? I thought it was, so it's not closed the debate then. Only the mover of the motion closed the debate. I think we do a bit premature, Mr Mayor. Not next time. Julian?
Yeah, only the mover closes the debate, not the second.
That's right.
Yeah, wrongly.
Point of order, legal officer. To close the debate, it's the one who moves the resolution.
Correct.
And the resolution was not moved by Councillor O'Neill. It was moved by Councillor Barry.
We've accepted that point, yes.
Right. So the debate is not closed. Only when Councillor Barry, if he moved it, it would have been closed.
I think perhaps you didn't see you there, but I did close the debate.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, I hate to do this, but I've got to do it. You can't close the debate, man. And the rules of debate is the one who closes the debate is the mover of the resolution. And that was Councillor Barry.
Correct.
Knock it off.
Thank you, Mr. Bear. Whilst I don't wish to object to what members say, what Councillor Rogers and Councillor Amos is right. It is normally the mover of the motion that closes the debate, but the ultimate person who has overall responsibility in this chamber is the Mayor. Irrespective of rules of debate, the Mayor can close the meeting, he can put the matter to the chamber, and with all due respect, that's what the Mayor did. The Mayor said, we'll put this to the vote, that closes the debate. It is in the, if you want to have a look in the Constitution, the rules of debate, it should be in there. And I fully engage what you say, Tony and Julian. Obviously the Mayor needs to keep a watchful eye, but he didn't see anyone indicate, and therefore he put it to the vote. So the matter's should be put to the vote on this occasion.
That's carried then. The next item on the agenda, item number 7, Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council Annual Performance Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The annual performance report. The annual performance report is a retrospective report looking at the 17th of April last year to March 18 this year. It follows a raft of reports that were put through Council 26th of September, annual improvement report by the Welsh Audit Office, the annual governance statement about the internal control, statement of accounts, talks about our financial position, annual scrutiny report relates to the performance and critique of decision making within the authority. The annual performance report is our self-evaluation against our well-being objectives over the last year. In essence, our overall performance as a council. Our overall rating is seen at 1.3 as adequate, where strengths outweigh weaknesses, but important aspects require improvement. Adequate because 3 of the wellbeing themes report adequate judgments, with 1 reporting good. The annual improvement report, as mentioned earlier, Wales Audit Office report. The Council is meeting its statutory requirements in relation to continuous improvement. The report has been through governance scrutiny committee 9th of October and has challenged various aspects of our performance throughout the year in relation to our well-being objectives. The recommendations of 2.1, Merthyr Tydfil County Council annual report be approved. I move, Mr. Mayor.
So seconder?
I second that, Mr. Mayor.
Are there any questions? Are there any comments? To close the debate, any more comments? Yeah, right, okay then. So take it to the vote then, thanks. Oh, it's complete. Oh, that's carried then. The next item on the agenda number item 8, Tree Preservation Orders, Amendment to the Constitution. Kevin Gibbs is taking this one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this is in relation to a tree preservation orders and amendment to the Constitution. The Planning and Countryside Department is currently reviewing all its tree preservation orders, the TPOs, and associated records. In doing so, it has become apparent that some of the records require amendment or correction. The Constitution currently grants the Head of Planning and Countryside delegated powers to make provisional TPOs. In order to carry out the review, the existing TPOs need to be revoked and confirmed. As there are approximately 40 TPOs, it is considered expedient if this could be carried out under delegated powers. So therefore, the recommendations are the Council's Constitution grants delegated power to the Head of Planning and Countryside to revoke old tree preservation orders and confirm tree preservation orders to which there are no objections. I therefore move.
Is there a seconder? Right. Are there any questions? Oh, Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Where can we find details of each tree preservation order?
The records are held in the Planning and Countryside Department.
And will we be advised as ward members of when each TPO is made, where and when?
Yeah, there'll be a consultation process. Yeah, you will be made aware.
One further question, Mr. Mayor. I'm wondering, can you email all members details of each TPO or whatever TPO is relevant to the individual wards?
Yeah, we can do that.
Are there any other questions? Any comments? Oh, Councillor. Oh, comment, yes.
Thank you, Chair. In the report it says about revoking and then reintroducing TPOs. Does that also include just revoking TPOs?
The request for delegated powers, yeah, it refers to both, to revoking and confirming, yeah.
Any comments?
Can I just say that my comment is, a very briefly I'll be, we must be the most blessed town in the area or around us for trees. We've got all types of trees here, and tree preservation orders are obviously very, very important, but we're very, very lucky. And if you're out and about looking now in the autumn time now, or the Yanks call the fall, you can see it that we're very, very lucky. Wherever you go, and over the last 20 or 30 years, they've grown so rapid, A470, A465 on the road, you can't see the other side. Like. So I think that we are one of the best towns or county boroughs in Wales for trees. So I'd like to, it's a little plug for Merthyr Tydfil. Look after our trees, but they're worth looking after. Fantastic.
Thanks. So if there's no other comments, we'll take it to the vote then, thanks. Yes, it's carried then. Next item on the agenda, agenda item 9, implementation of the Sustainable Drainage Systems Approval Body. Again, Councillor Gibbs is going to take.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report is to inform members of the new statutory function that Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council will be required to undertake in relation to Schedule 3 of the Flood and Water Management Act 2010 and to seek council approval to establish the Sustainable Drainage Approval Body, SAB, within the authority. Whilst we acknowledge that this is a statutory requirement, I would like it put on record that this council is unhappy about having to take on this extra responsibility without any extra financial support from Welsh Government, and therefore we will be lobbying the Welsh Government via the WLGA and the leaders. The recommendations of the report can be found in 2.1 to 2.3. 2.1, Sustainable Drainage Approval Body is established in accordance with the proposed structure set out below. 2.2, delegated authority is given to the SAB to determine sustainable drainage applications. And 2.3, the engineering department is able to provide a design service for developers to design sustainable drainage systems to generate further income to self-sustain the SAB team beyond March 2020. I therefore move.
Is there a seconder?
I second, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks. Are there any questions? No. Are there any comments? No. Well, we take it to the vote then, thanks. That's complete, then that's carried. Okay. Next item on the agenda, agenda item 10, Winter Night Shelter, 2018 to 19. Councillor Thomas will take this.
Mr Mayor, we'd like to defer this report till the next council meeting as two other properties have come available, and we'd like to assess the three properties to see which would be best. Thank you.
Thanks. The next two items are information reports, number 11 and number 12, so we don't have any discussion on those. Item number 13, it's been proposed that it's an exempt item. In order for these items to be considered in private, it's suggested that the public be excluded from the meeting on the grounds that it involves the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraphs, whatever, of section 100 of the Local Government Act. So, would someone like to move?
I so move, Mr Mayor.
Seconder?
I second, Mr Mayor.
It. All in favour? So unfortunately the member of the public has to leave now. Well, I'm not aware of any other urgent business or correspondence, and I haven't got it. Oh, here we are. Thanks. I haven't got any other urgent business or correspondence to deal with, and there's no communications from me either. So that's the meeting closed then. Thanks for all coming.